Welcome to the flashing lights tutorial for the fire department section. As you can see that within the time period of the updates time span the developers have been working on, we actually have a prompt screen background picture for this, just like we got one for the police. So with that said, we'll go in here, and in here you got whether male or female to choose from. You got the different body selections to use, as well as the hats that you can be able to choose to work with, different kinds of glasses, and face mask if you choose to wear it. Once you select the character that you want to use, you will then be spawned outside just like always. Now I'm kidding, we got a fire station now. You don't spawn outside, you actually spawn in here. As usual, this allows you to be able to change your roles, and this here will allow you to change your vehicles. And I know I keep forgetting, this is the medical heal in the event you are injured. So real quick, I guess we'll do our quick tour. We got our stairs, we got office sections that are still under construction, and we got a fireman quick pole to slide down. Woohoo! And our garage doors are fully functional. That also goes for the one that's back here in the rear. In our station, we can hold up to about 4 stalls. The fire engines now have operational hose lines, so we can build them up at the fire plugs either here. There's also a fire plug back here, as well as extra municipal parking. Now if I end up playing a paramedic or EMS, if there's only a few people on the fire department, I either occupy this stall here if it's not used, or I park in front of the street light here. Because it's red, you know, it's a paramedic roleplay thing, because paramedics are at the fire department. Because at the hospital, you know, it's not like you got an ambulance service garage that you're parking at and contracted by the hospital. So that's where I usually go at. In the vehicle selection, we have ourselves a car, the SUV, this truck, and this one here. We can pull that up. This truck. Now, what this is a ladder truck. This is the tanker truck. The difference between this one and that one, besides this handling high-rise fires, is 1,000 gallons, because this holds 2 and this holds 3. So really you're looking at, depending on how that fire is, actually what truck might end up being dispatched there if you're trying to do all that roleplay stuff. Because some fires you may need on a high-rise 2 ladder trucks to grab it, where some fires, depending on your roleplay, can use 1 ladder truck and 1 tanker. But we'll get into that in the ladder truck tutorial. So I am going to do that because this is really a complicated truck, and players grab this and they end up having problems trying to use it. And so what we're going to do is cover that in a different tutorial. Anyways, when you're busy picking your vehicle, there's really not much for an appearance change, but you can edit the nodes on your vehicle. So you can be able to have that just like the PD one by turning the thing on. Now, as you can see, I do not have a node for that bumper, versus my police car, if you saw the other one, does have the node. And that is because I selected to be removed. To enable it, you would have to go here by choosing a light color. And there it is. So That's how you would do that. There are also nodes that you can stick in here. But I have what I have set up on my vehicle. This goes for any of the vehicles that you select. Once again, I have customized everything. So what you're looking at is not provided by default. These are actually presets I did in the single player mode so I can be able to use it out in the field. Now, as we're going through these things here, what we're going to do first is I want to touch base with with these two vehicles here. Okay, so let's go over these. Now, in these vehicles, you got your trunk, in which you have your fire equipment, which is a fire extinguisher, water hose, water supply, as well as your self-contained breathing apparatus and the ventilation fan. Now, to be honest, this vehicle, you cannot hook hoses to it, and you dealing with the fire trucks, there is no hooking any of these to the fire trucks. All you do is glitch it out. So you're really down to this, and when you're in this car, you can get this stuff off of the truck. So now in the rescue part, there are useful stuff in here. You have spreaders. So like, let's say there's some guy putting out a car fire, and let's say the car fire is way to the south off the beach right over there towards the south last part of that road by the shoreline. You'll see there's a circle, so there's a car fire there. And then let's say there's a cat stuck into the tree up to the northeast of town, not too far from the hospital. Okay, well, being as close as that is, there's really no point in, I mean, the fire truck could take the call because they sometimes do, but they will never get there. But you can come into the rescue and either set the ladder up to go get the cat yourself or cut that tree down, and that'll be the end of that. On fire scene locations, like there's a roadblock call with trees and whatnot, and you can be able to select out scene lights, which are these things, which is why I'm running the night shift right now, in which you could be able to place the scene lights according to what is needed for the fire that you're consist of. But you have to remember, since you deployed them, you are the only one that can remove these, and they can only go be returned back to your vehicle. It's really the best way to do that. You also, so between that, you have your ladder. If there's an accident, and because especially if you are playing online and EMS says, "Hey, I got an accident, I got a trapped victim, I need some help." So you have spreaders here and a medic bag, just like the fire truck, and you can be able to run in this vehicle to go handle that. So the trucks can actually sit in here or be on their way back from a fire, and since you're in the car, you're the fastest because you're rushing all over, there are things you can do. In addition, you have traffic cones and road flares, which I've seen many players lay these out in assistance while trucks are setting up, mainly the ladder truck, to handle fires. This vehicle, same thing. We have the equipment that's here. Like I said, these two are completely redundant because you can't use them. You have all your rescue equipment you can use. So because sometimes, like when I play this role, I'll deal with anything that's fire related, and there are some people that will run around in this vehicle. So there are calls that I don't chase down. I actually got another player who does the same thing. Usually this player ends up working as a great partner because he runs the second ladder truck, and he's very outstanding at his job. And so we have a tendency to hang back. And when you are running this vehicle and there's an accident and you take that accident call, okay, because you elected to do so, you go over there. Well, you have a set of spreaders, so you can't just abandon the call. I mean, you can go in there and handle it. The spreaders are right here. I guess they're not there. I don't use this vehicle. Okay, unless they're not available because we're in the garage. But anyways, that's some of the stuff that's in there. Actually, that should be blocked. So I suppose it isn't. So I guess the roll for this vehicle is even less. Well, the bag is available. Ladder is not available. The axe is available. Chainsaw is definitely available. We already know the scene lights are available. And I've already seen this stuff deployed, so it's not available. Okay, so so there's no water hose supplies. Right. That I did expect to see. So there's nothing here for that. Let's see, does this? Yeah, that's available. Van's not available. So I guess you're limited. I'm really surprised the spreaders are not available in this. So there you go. If you're in the car and you're in this truck and you're going to chase down an accident scene, don't bother. Because even though the tools are small enough to carry in here, the only thing you can use is a medical bag. Because you don't have anything else to work with. Okay, moving on to the trucks. Now, I did wanted to note that don't hold it that maybe the spreader may not be available. Maybe the developer will see the video and go, hey, wait a minute, you know what? Maybe we should make it available. And then next thing you know, I'm going to put a disclaimer in. At the time of this vehicle, certain items that could be in the back of the car or the SUV is not available at the time I did this video, because who knows, maybe next time it might be. So just so you know what I was talking about, this is the ladder. I don't know if the ladder could fit in the SUV, definitely not in the car, but the spreader can. It can actually fit both, maybe. And this is used to open up the doors. But I don't know much about the fire department. There was a guy that actually, a couple of players that were on an all-nighter on one of my servers, so we're the only three, explaining to me the basis of the fire department and whatnot. Because police work and as well as impounding, that, we'll just put it this way, I've always known that. But this is like a new venture, and I'm glad they did, because I had to go into single player to get used to this. So while we're in here, we have our light systems, as you can see, for the truck. And then we have our auxiliary lights. Now, these lights will show up on a light panel, and what they usually do is they light up the surrounding area, which is also known as your work lights, because I got one here, one there, which are mostly common to be used for nighttime. Now, when you arrive at a call, it is your truck. This number shows how much water your water capacity is. When you're at a call, try to find yourself the nearest fire hydrant. Take this and then, wrong selection, and hook up your supply hose. Before you start putting out anything. Did it again. Okay. The reason my understanding is um, we do this. I'm trying to remember. This is hooked up because you're relying on the city water to put out the fire, so it's supplying it. Now, why are they hooking it to this here? Because this is a pumper. This is the pumper tanker, and you're using the pump to increase the water flow pressure. Some do it gallons per minute to have a more efficient water stream, as well as maintain the level of the water that's going to be within the truck. Now, when you do not use this, because there are going to be situations you're going to be located at in which that you will have to use the hose and you will be burning through your water supply doing so. That's the nature of the beast. So, like, what I end up tending doing, because it does drive some players nuts, and I don't care, because I have one player that does the same thing, and that player is outstanding. I actually enjoy working with that player because we work on the ladder trucks, and some people, they get bossy with them, and I step in on that because that player knows what he's doing. I've watched him enough to know exactly that he knows what he's doing. So what we'll do is that we hook this line up, and in here, and then what it'll do is it'll refill the trucks up. So you always want to maintain a full truck, because some of these calls you will be going to will have nothing for a fire plug. Now, the ladder truck is the same way, and its nozzle is located here, which is very important. Oh, I'm sorry, this holds 2,000 or 1,000 gallons. My bad. So this thing actually holds less. Now you probably figure, why two different weights? There's a good chance to keep it legal under the CDL restrictions, under the Federal Department of Transportation. Those of you who play American Truck Simulator know exactly what I'm talking about. All them rules and guidelines also come down to municipal vehicles, and 2,000 gallons may be too heavy for this truck due to the amount of equipment in it, so it's probably a weight thing why this is less. But this holds about 1,000, so there's not every single place you're going to go to is going to have a fire plug. So if I'm putting out a car fire with this, I could do it with this truck. It's only 1,000 gallons. But let's say I go to a barn and I got to put that out. Well, me and my fellow comrade goes over to the location together, so between us we have 2,000 gallons to work with. So just because you're in a ladder truck isn't really a do-everything truck. It's all about what trucks are being selected to do what. That's why it's kind of annoying, because somebody would be like, well, I'm the chief. They'll run to the location and they can't even send out the right trucks, because some of these locations you would need, like the barn fire, you can use 2 ladder trucks or a ladder truck and a tanker truck. So if you got 3 trucks running around, somebody is down to the south off the beach area cutting a tree up, and he finished it. Well, trucks are not race cars. He's on his way back, so there's really no point in him teleporting to the station because he doesn't play that way. So when the fire call comes up for, like, let's say a barn, then he's taking it in the event that he might get there in time. But the barn fire is going to be the tanker pumper by itself, or that pumper and the ladder truck together, because there are no hydrants. You'll have to stop at one of the highway gas stations to get a hold of a fire hydrant to refill the truck up with water. So that it is very important to know when you are going to be, they're engineers. That's what you're called. You're called an engineer, and you're in charge of the truck. And therefore, whatever truck you choose, it's a good idea. Once again, just like I said many times before, for the, like in the player menu and the police update tutorial, that you really need, when you are taking equipment that you're not familiar with, come into the single player and learn about the vehicle you're using, so that you could be able to be more efficient at the role you are doing. That's why, like this here, I'm going to do a separate video on it, because I will be way too long in this basic tutorial update for this truck. It is complicated like that. It's actually more complicated than the other one. And I want to touch bases with the basics on the trucks and some of the calls. Now, this truck, if you take a look, this truck holds up to, I believe, about 4 hoses. I think it's 4. Yeah, so there, or maybe it's 3. But the what you do is that, let's say I'm here working on a fire, and then my one buddy in his ladder truck is over there working on the same fire, but the ladder is extended and he's handling something else. And then the chief, who's playing chief, wants to run up here and he wants to join in here. So for some reason, he grabs the fire extinguisher, and we got this comical thing going on, because the this giant, huge structure fire ablaze. We got this. I ran out. Got to go back, get another one. Go up to one of the trucks, grab water hose, go to the other outlet, and hook onto it from whatever truck you selected from, and work on it. It's just that make sure that when you remove it, to put it in the very same truck you took it off. Do not touch this. The water supply hose is the responsibility of the engineer who's driving it. And all you'll do is glitch out the game. So if I'm driving this ladder truck, I would not hook up my comrade's truck, my buddy's truck that runs the other ladder truck. I would not use my hose to hook him up. And he would not use his hose to hook up mine to help me out. And neither would he grab my hose off of this and hook it into the hydrant to help me out, because the game may glitch out, because it's assigned to the vehicle that it's come off of. Now, if I had my hose, like I said, so this is my buddy's truck, I take it off of here, then I will use it off of here, and then I will put it back on the truck. Even though mine is parked on the other side of the street, and I'm just staying there as standby, because if he's running low on water and we don't have hydrants, then maybe working off of one truck at a time might be more feasible of taking out the fire. So these are things to keep in mind, because sometimes when you trade hoses between trucks, you put on somebody else's hose when you're not the engineer of that truck, such as basically the supply line, creates glitches and problems that are actually avoidable. So when you use a water hose on a truck, take it from there, plug it into the outlet, use it for what you need, unplug it, return it back to the truck you took it off of. That includes all equipment that you use. So any of the equipment that's in here, which is like the cars, except all this stuff can be removed. Whatever you take off of this truck, you are to put it back on the same truck you took it off of. Don't put it in somebody else's vehicle. Don't leave it behind on the road. Take it, put it all back. Because that's that rush points and stuff syndrome, all that crazy stuff, and really it's completely unnecessary to to do that. It's just simple, just to put it back where you got it from. But that's the basis of the fire trucks. Now, when we're sitting here dealing with a call for a tree, one of the things I wanted to point out, first things first, this is how you use the chainsaw. The markers up there are where you're supposed to be at. So you go into your aim position and just go to work. Now, usually, like the one guy that I work with the most, I'll end up having to cut him up and then I'll pull him off of the road. When all the limbs are cut off of the tree, you will be able to then start cutting the trunk apart. Probably wondering, well, why does the fire department do this? I don't know. Maybe the county's out of money. and the county department of streets and sanitation cannot handle the job. Now, when you come up here to grab these things, some players have the tendency to do this. That's not off of the road, and you could run the risk of the call hanging up. So what you need to do is pick that thing up and drop it completely off of the road. Once you've gotten the last part and it's done for, and you build some muscle up on it, then that'll be the end of that. And then you can start closing up the same